Hey guys, so this is part 2 of my story. This part is, of course, the part about the discard, and this has been the hardest part. So every time I try to record, I get like overwhelmed with so many different emotions and feelings because it was really hard on me. The discard itself was really hard on me, but I got to get it out, right? So I have to try to get through it. So just bear with me because it just like triggers different feelings. And I'm not talking about like feelings of like maybe pain, but I'm talking about like anger and, but we're going to get through it. So a continuation to the first video of breaking free, from codependency and narcissistic abuse. The discard went like nothing I have ever really experienced. Well, actually, I had experienced something similar to it, but it was by someone who he just gave me all kinds of like signs that he was just doing me dirty. He was doing me wrong. And when I found out that he was cheating on me and he was, doing his own thing, it did hurt, but it didn't have as much an effect on me as opposed to, of course, the discard of my latest breakup. That one was just pretty, he was very superficial and very like, I just sat there thinking to myself, what the hell was I thinking? Like wasting my time and just, I must have been on drugs. This particular breakup, it just took me by surprise because at least I thought I was doing everything possible to try to make things work and keep everything on an even keel. And of course, if you've seen the last video, you heard what I've had to endure, but I really thought that this was my person. I really thought that this was my, like he was going to be it. He was the one, and this was the man of, I guess, for lack of better sense, my dreams, like I fell in love with him. I fell in love with his soul. I fell in love with just his heart, at least at the time that I thought he had one. I just fell in love with someone who, like I said, reminded me of me in a sense, but in a way that we were like two broken souls. We were like two lost souls who have just been through so much crap, and we just wanted to have some kind of peace and normality, and the fact that we had such chemistry and we clicked and we really just were, we were enamored with one another, and we did things like the old-fashioned way, and it just felt so real, and it felt so genuine, and it felt so sincere that it was, it was a perfect fit for me. So when the discard came, yeah, it did hit me very, very hard. So hard to the point that I literally threw up. Like I literally threw up in front of him. Like I could not understand. I couldn't believe it. But at the same time, as weird as it sounds, I wasn't surprised that it was coming to that point. It's like I wasn't surprised that it was going in that direction because the relationship had been so strained and so toxicity filled that it was like, you kind of see something in the far distance, but you don't really see what it is. So when it happened, it was definitely, it was definitely a very devastating moment for me. But I don't know if he had it in his mind that I was going to leave, and he may have thought, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to, hurt you before you hurt me. I don't know. I, to this day, don't know. But I did not, at least I didn't think I did give him any indication that I was going to leave or I was looking to abandon him. But at the end of the day, it was brought to my attention that, he wasn't happy. Things aren't working out and things were getting stale. or whatever the case may be. I thought it was because I was maybe working too much, or I was not fulfilling certain duties. I wasn't doing certain things. So naturally, I took the blame because, I mean, you're telling me this is over because you're not happy. And yet throughout the entire course of our relationship, I've had to sit here and be, be treated the way I was treated. I took it. I took everything. I bypassed the hurtful words. I bypassed the attitudes. I bypassed the nastiness, everything. And yet that's not good enough either. So I was definitely hurt and at a loss for words. And, I was just like reactive, which everybody is when, you're told something like that, and then you're thinking you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone. And it was very painful. It really was. Like, I felt like, really, and as cliched as this sounds, I felt like my heart was being ripped out, and I was trying my best, but apparently my best wasn't good enough. So I basically, I just went and took it upon myself. I gave him back everything he ever gave me. And, I was so angry. I was so hurt. I was so many different emotions at once. And I was so confused. And yet I was still in that period of trying to get answers, trying to figure things out, trying to understand, why are you doing this? Now, naturally, in this stage, I got met with frustration, aggravation, anger, lashings. He was very verbally aggressive, and he just pretty much yelled at me, and, just pushing me. And I'm just like, yo, like, can we just talk about this? But, you become desperate. Yeah, you do, especially when you're trying to not have anything end, but, and he just pushed me away. He just kept pushing me, and I'm just like, I mean, what more can I do? And I'm, trying to I'm saying to myself, maybe if I give him some space and I give him time to just try to figure things out. But, it just boiled down to me that there were certain things going on. So, the Facebook gets deactivated, but the messenger stays on. And, I'm reaching out to him. Again, you're in that addiction stage. You're reaching out. You're trying to understand. You're hurting. You're in denial. You're trying to figure things out. And there were times where he wouldn't even respond back to me. But yet I'd see that he was online talking on Messenger, even though his Facebook was deactivated, because we were still in a relationship. So I guess whomever, he didn't want people seeing that. I honestly, listen, I was under the assumption he was talking to somebody else, because, why would you deactivate that and then keep your messenger and you're talking to people or whatever? It just, things did not look right. So I went and brought it to his attention. And of course, I get yet again the yelling and the screaming and the cursing me out and the gaslighting, because, you're making shit up in your head. What the fuck? Da da da. Stop looking through my shit. Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff or whatever. So. And me, of course, I'm not cursing, I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just, again, you're in that pain stage. So you're like, listen, I'm just trying to understand, like, what's going on. And of course, you're looked at as you're being accusatory. You're accusing them of doing stuff. You're accusing them of, of ignoring you. You're accusing them of giving you the silent treatment. The truth of the matter was that he was. And, it as time went on, I was really trying my best to try to make things work. I was really trying my best to try to figure it out, and I tried to explain to him, you're making a mistake. I really think that, everything that happened between us is all based on misunderstanding. And I'm trying to plead. I am begging and I am pleading. And I was begging this man to stay with me. I was begging him, even after the way he talked to me, after the way he treated me, I was begging him to stay with me, to the point where I was telling him I can change. And as pitiful as I was looking, which was pretty fucking pitiful, by the way, it was nothing. It was, he was just acting like nothing. He was, posting pictures. He was chit-chatting with other people. I saw, you're in that addiction stage, guys. you're looking through to see what's going on. You're looking through all kinds of stuff, social media, you name it, you're looking through it. And of course, there were some females who gave clear indication that they were talking to him. And then, he was just basically showing off in front of other people and ignoring me, ignoring the fact that I was in pain, ignoring everything about the almost 3 years that we had together. It was just like I just didn't exist. I was nothing. I was just out of the picture, and that's that. And needless to say, his ex knew that as well, because, well, as I was walking out the door, she was coming in. Him and his ex always remained friends. They have a child together, so, I guess naturally, that's just the dynamic that they always had. You guys already know how I feel about her, and you already know my opinion about the whole situation, because like I said, I never slept on anybody. I didn't sleep on her. I didn't sleep on people. I don't sleep on people who I feel rub me the wrong way. And quite frankly, it was just pretty much that dynamic where I know there's a trauma bond between him and his ex. I know that there is some kind of a hold, between the two of them. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because I can't really pinpoint it, but I know there is some type of, succubus energy between the two of them. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that if anything doesn't work out with him and another relationship, you guys are already aware of what trauma bonds are. And of course, it's just basically where you are tied to someone, even though they are toxic, even though they're manipulative, they're very, hurtful in their ways, even though that they've done a lot of shady shit, but you still keep them around because you feel tied to that person. So this was, of course, after I've learned about, narcissism and codependency and so forth and so on. And I basically took everything that I've learned with that dynamic and understanding that, yeah, she is in fact narcissistic. She is a narcissist. And if I had to guess, if my ex is not a narcissist, he probably might be. You can be an inverted narcissist where he can only deal with other narcissistic people, because trauma bonds, people do base relationships on trauma bonds. People base relationships on toxicity because that is what appears to be normal to them. But anyway, when I saw that she was kind of back in the picture, not so much as dating or anything, but they started following each other on social media, other social media platforms. And of course, he knew I was going to see that. And of course, he knew I was going to feel some kind of way about it, but I guess he didn't care at the time. So I was just like beyond livid. I was beyond just upset. I was just so, I had such rage running through my veins. And yet I still didn't do anything about it, because at the end of the day, my one concern was always his daughter. His daughter meant a lot to me. And in so many different ways, I see myself when I see her, because, I was once a young teenage girl. So I really cared about her. And at the end, that was my concern. So I just decided to, not entertain it in that way. So, of course, after seeing that and then seeing, I don't know if you guys remember that I mentioned he likes to do art. So, I bought him markers, very expensive markers too, not Crayola type markers, because I knew he always wanted them. And I used to always ask him, make me a picture, draw me something so I can put it on my desk at work. And he would always say, okay, but never got to it. And needless to say, I guess to pour salt on the wound, when it came down to this discard, he went and he drew something for another female, and he put it up on his, on his platform. And he knew I was going to see that too. And I just flipped my lid. I just got pissed off, and I messaged him and I said, how could you do that? How could you, when I've always asked you for one, how could you be so cruel and so unkind? And of course I get a phone call and I get cursed out. Now, going through all of this, I know some of you are wondering, well, Erica, you've been in this person's life for almost 3 years. And of course, you've been around the family, you've done a lot of different things. And, why hasn't anybody even bothered to see how you were doing or reach out or say anything about it? Well, you see, I was another one bites the dust. So when it boiled down to it, I did reach out to his mom. At the time, I did reach out to her, and I was so upset and I was just worried. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I thought we were fine. I thought things were great between us. And of course, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows Erica. Nobody knows that I exist. Nobody knows anything about me. So, needless to say, I saw where everybody was standing on that line, and it was not on my side. And of course, the ex was the favorite daughter-in-law, favorite sister-in-law, favorite, she's been a part of the family for so many years and blah, 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 and all that bullshit. And yet nothing that she's ever done really didn't faze anybody, I mean, including the fact that she's emasculated the man several times, including the fact that she's managed to pour dirt on his name, because when everything was said and done, that was the final straw for me, seeing all that. And aside from, prior to all of that happening, we did have an encounter, and it was a very bad encounter. That was when he just basically was like, you want me to be with you out of pity? What do you want? And blah, 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 and all that stuff or whatever. And, if you can't take my friendship and da-da-da-da, whatever. So again, I did not know what narcissism was at the time it was happening, because had I known, then I would have known what was really going on. In most cases, some people would have probably walked away when he said to me, what he said to me. See, I had shared some personal things in confidence with him. I had shared, which now I have no problem sharing with the world, that I had attempted suicide before, and I'm glad I did not do it. But I had shared something, that was personal for me, and I shared that with him because I thought I could trust him. And of course, when everything happened the way it did, his exact words were, before you go and throw yourself in front of a fucking bus, I'll be with you. All right, Erica? Okay, is that what you want to hear? Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what he told me. And you can only imagine the amount of pain that pain is too soft a word. Too soft a word. It wasn't even pain. He broke my spirit. That man broke my spirit. He broke my spirit so much to the point where I was just like frozen in time. Yet again, Erica did not fold. I did not get nasty. I did not get rude. I did not get abrasive. I did not hurt him the way he hurt me. I just packed my little bag and I walked away. And I left it all behind. I left him with all of that. He had people stroking his ego. He had people, he had his friends, his friends having him drinking and hanging out, doing whatever, I mean, everything that he shitted on me for, I let him have it. I let him have it. She can have you. They can have you. Everybody can have you. When you find out the snakes in your own grass, don't bring no shit to my yard, because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And some time had gone by. I deactivated all of my social media accounts for a few months. I don't know if anything that was being done was to get a reaction out of me, but needless to say, he was not getting any reactions out of me, because out of sight, out of mind, which means that you ain't got no social media. You ain't got no way to look things up. You have no way to look people up. And over time, no more phone calls, no more text messages, no more reacting to, pictures and just all kinds of stuff. Nothing. He put that he was single. He put that out there for the world to see, because after everything was done, his Facebook got reactivated all of a sudden. So, it was just pretty much, this is who you are. This is what you did. And this was what you thought of me. And I treated you with nothing but respect. I treated you with nothing but love. I treated you with nothing but courteousness and kindness and gentle hands. I treated you with all of this, and this is what I got in return. Okay. Good luck with having me trust you again. So I was gone for a while. Erica went MIA for a while. I worked on my, I had to work on myself, my own healing. I had to deal with my pain myself. So I just pretty much had to eat it. That's what I had to do. I had to eat everything, which I did. I ate it. And of course, as much as I wanted to regurgitate it, I couldn't, but I ate it all. And time goes by, and then I get a message around my birthday. And, I'm working so hard to put myself in a better place, in a better space. And I did respond. I'm not going to deny that because I don't lie to you guys. I haven't lied to anybody. I did respond. I did it in the most peaceful way possible because, you got those voices that tell you, curse them out and say things. And I'm like, no, I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to justify that. I'm not going to dignify that with that kind of response. So I said, yeah, thank you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There were certain points of contact. I did reach out to him a few times, and that part of me was back and forth. It was back and forth because I was going from, remember, it was only a couple of months that went by. So I wasn't fully, completely over him, but I wasn't, fully, completely into the situation, because as much as I wanted to not believe that this man was capable of being this way, this is why I tell you guys, do not focus on the good times, because my mind at that time was focusing on the good times, and I was reminiscing, and I would find myself periodically messaging him. And yeah, I one time called him because there was just something, I don't know what it was, but it was something that made me just urged me to reach out to him. And it felt like there was like a bad vibe, like something was happening. So even after all of this went down, because I know some people at that point, at that stage, would say, well, Erica, why would you reach out to somebody who treated you this way, who did this to you? My heart was still, it was broken, but it was still feeling, and it was still feeling for him. And even if I get a bad energetic vibe, or I get something, or just something, and I reached out to him, and I told him I reached out to him because I just felt the need to see if he was okay. Even after everything was said and done, I still reached out to him to see if he was okay. I still reached out to him to see if everything was all right with him, if he was good, if his health was good, if everything was okay. I still reached out to do these things. And I knew that by doing that, that was probably going to create a very big mistake for me, because I worked so hard to get to where I was. I finally decided that after that, it was time to get my closure. I was in his area, and I asked him if he was home, and he said no. And I said, all right. And I just took that as my sign that I'm never going to get the proper closure that I needed. So I had decided to create my own closure. It was very hard for me, but I did it. And I wrote him a letter and said what I had to say. And I had the angels by my side. I had the angels by my side comforting me and giving me words of wisdom, because what I truly wanted to say, it probably would have warranted a visit from him. But at the end of the day, I didn't say it. I was very, very respectful. And I said my goodbye. And after I said my goodbye, I changed my number. When I mailed the letter, I was at work, and I just was like, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And, when you do something, there's no going back. And I changed my phone number. The minute I got back to my desk, I changed my phone number. And the most eerie thing happened when I changed my phone number. The minute I hit the submit button, it was just crazy. My phone, my office phone rings, and I pick up and I say hello, and I hear screeching, and it just sounded so scary. It sounded like a female's voice, screeching and screaming in the background, just like if they were being tortured. And I just freaked out, and I hung up the phone. And then the phone rang again, and the same voice on there rang. It just freaked me the hell out, like the irony of release. Oddly enough, in the letter, I told him that I feel like he has a entity surrounding him, a certain type of entity surrounding him. And it's a very possessive entity. It's a very dark entity, a dark energy. And the crazy part about it is that I always felt it was a female type of entity that was just possessive of him. And I mean, some of you guys may believe in that and some of you guys may not, but it was just, you just putting the two, because the minute I just mailed a letter and the minute I just changed my phone number, all in the same 10 minutes, I'm getting a phone call with a screeching, torturous voice. Come on, that's not coincidence, bro. It's not. But it was what it was. And I did what I had to do. And over time, I knew the healing process was going to take a while. It was going to take me some time because this was someone that I thought was my person. This was someone that I thought was forever. You know, I thought this was it. I thought this was going to be the man I was going to marry. I thought this was going to be the man that I was going to possibly maybe have another child with. I thought these things, you know, and I at one point beat myself up about it, but then I stopped doing that because I said, you know what, you what did you do? You try to love someone. You try to love someone who's clearly broken, who's clearly doesn't want to change, who clearly just is okay with the kind of environment that they're in. And it's just going to drag you down more. So you have no choice, you know, and they left me no choice. He left me no choice. I had to. Everything that was said, everything that was done, the damage is done. That's all irreparable damage. You can't, how do you take any of that back? If anybody can figure out how to take any of that back, then I suggest you give that kind of advice to people who really shit on people and really, really hurt them with no remorse. Because I, till this day, have never gotten an apology for it. I got no apology. I got no type of nothing. I got nothing. Okay. His ego and his pride is so big that he could not even apologize. Because why? You know, because he was wrong. He was wrong for what he did. He was wrong for how he treated me. And even though people may not tell him, people may tell him, at the end of the day, people may not know. For all I know, he told them it was me who treated him like that. He told them it was me who was like that. But at the end of the day, everybody saw how I was. Everybody saw how I was treating him. You can't deny that. You can't sit there and say, well, Erica's a bitch. Erica's she was a nasty person. No, you can't. Not one person can say that about me. And that, guys, is pretty much how it ended. That's pretty much all she wrote, all he wrote. There's nothing more about it. I went on to do my healing. I went through the pain. I went through the motions. I went to therapy. I went to, to get the help that I needed to overcome my codependency, because this experience has pushed me so far beyond the limits that I managed to overcome my codependency. I managed to be a boundary setter. I managed to put myself in a position to say that I'm going to be in my power and nobody's going to fuck with that. I managed to say to myself that I love myself. I am loved. And at the end of the day, if it's meant to happen for me, it's going to happen. If a relationship is meant for me, it's going to happen. I'm not in a rush. I'm not even looking, and I'm okay with that. And a little side note, I managed to, because I told you guys that he was under the impression I was doing stuff because, somebody put something in his head to believe that I was doing things. I spent 6 hours going through text messages, 2.5 years of text messages, 6 hours on my phone, printing out a stack this big of text messages, because I was trying so hard for him to just have faith in me and believe in me and give me the benefit of the doubt. And because he was holding on to whatever burdens that he had from his past, he could not let it go. I said, if I'm going to walk away, I'm going to walk away knowing that I kept it solid. That's how Erica does it. I walk away knowing I kept it solid. And you can never run back and say, well, Erica was never real. Erica was never this. Erica was never that. Never. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining me. And thank you all for your support. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here today to be able to not only tell my story, but be able to help other people who are going through it. It's a lot of unnecessary pain. And if I can help anybody get through it, I'll be more than glad to do it. So guys, again, thank you all. Until next time, namaste.